Yes, I'm so excited about another one. Yes, another bodyboarder here with me tonight on Everything About Everything videos. I'm Patty Serrano, your host, and really looking forward to tonight only because Jordan and I go way back, and I'm just really excited to talk a little bit about some of the things we did early on the internet and then where he's evolved to today. So let's welcome in Jordan all the way from Hawaii. How you doing, Jordan?
Good, how you doing? Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, look at all those boards back there. I can't wait to dig into all that stuff and see what you got.
Yeah, there's quite a few treasures here. Just a few of them, but yeah, all good.
Yeah, that's so cool. So for those of you that have never met Jordan before, he lives in Hawaii and he is a board collector. And so we're going to talk a little bit about his quiver. But before we get started, I wanted to see if you remember I always like to do this, particularly on the history of bodyboarding, where you and I met, because it always usually goes way back. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. You do?
Yeah, I probably met you for the first time at one of the BIAs, right? I'm trying to remember if I met you before. I knew Debbie before. I used to ride for Custom X, but then, I moved to San Diego in 1994 and got heavily involved in the BIA. So I'm pretty sure we met then.
That's probably right.
Might have met you in the BIM shop in Oceanside also. Was that correct? I'm trying to remember if you had a BIM shop.
I think it goes way back, because the thing that I think was most impressive, I mean, as far as when we're looking at the history and all my videos that I'm doing about bodyboarding anyway, I like to just kind of delve into, because it's such a long 45-year history, is this whole thing where it got started. But, what you did, I don't know if you remember, was you contacted me. You knew that I was getting into video, and you contacted me somewhere around, I'm going to say 06. Maybe a little bit later, and said, hey, what do you think about putting some videos up on the internet so that people see them? Well, this was like kind of early YouTube and all that. And we, this gentleman that was training me had a channel on live stream, which I've gone back and looked to see if it was there, but it was called live stream, and you could actually leave your video on all the time. And so we decided to take your videos and your photographs and just put them up for whoever could find them. But here's the best part about it, I think. I remember you and I saying, well, what do we call this thing? And we bounced back and forth. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
On the internet, so what do you call a channel? Today it's whatever. So we ended up naming it BIM Web TV. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That's how BIM Web TV got started, and it still kind of hangs on to Bodyboard International magazine today. And that was the absolute first videos out on the internet. Now, someone asked in the chat room, where can you see any of those? Are there any that are still around anywhere of those early?
They're all up. They're all up right now. So I eventually migrated them to YouTube and Vimeo.
Oh, okay.
So I have my YouTube account, which is just my name, just Jordan Stallard. And then there was also another YouTube account for Bodyboards Hawaii, where originally with the videos, me and Danny Black were doing something with them, and then we put them on the Hawaii. And then I also have a Vimeo where I put some up also, because I found that YouTube was deleting the audio on some of my videos because it was, copyrighted music. So I recently put some on Vimeo. So all the videos are there. So they're all online on one of my accounts.
For those of you that are interested, he had presented to Rob White and has some really nice photos and videos, and that's how Jordan and I actually really go way back. And then, of course, reconnecting with him at the BIA years later was really nice. That was fun days, don't you think?
Yeah, those are fun. The BIAs were great.
Yeah.
Back in the mid 90s, that was an awesome scene you guys created.
Yeah, it was
2-day contest. Two heats going at the same time. They were full. Like it was pretty amazing to see how many riders would show up and were stoked about it. There's also time before the internet. The internet was just coming to be, so this kind of before the internet. So you get to meet a lot of the riders and see a lot of the riders that you only heard about. Like you only see their names in the magazines and then some videos. So you get to kind of meet them in person, get to know everybody. That's always kind of a cool social gathering. You did a really good thing.
I didn't realize that it was before the internet. And you know what? What I always like to, anything that like I've done before the internet, which is like Maury Boogie and BIM and PIA, it's like, how did we get the people there as well? I mean, word of mouth and viral and calling somebody up and saying, hey, did you hear? I mean, we did all this stuff, before the internet. So like I said, it was really nice reconnecting with you on the BIM Web TV, because you had some amazing stuff that you sent us, and it was really awesome. So
thanks.
Yeah, I know that most people wanted to see you and talk to you today, and they're going to be watching this later and wondering like, what is this all about? And so when I first saw like vintage bodyboard collective, I thought, gosh, this vintage stuff's really getting popular. And so tell me, how long have you been collecting bodyboards?
So I like a certain kind of bodyboard. Like I like kind of like the old school wide prone shape. So I'll kind of show you some of those.
Okay.
I think my bodyboarding really took off probably like, let's say 1990 when I got one of the numbered bend boards. And so ever since then, that's kind of what I started like riding. So I'd always ride these wide prone boards. And then, then when I started riding for Custom X, I'd have them shape wide prone boards for me. So I've always kind of been collecting that style board all the way through. As bodyboards modernized, they kind of went more narrow and more high performance, but I kind of like the wide style. So I've kind of collected them this whole time. I've had a collection of boards I've ridden and boards that I would, at the time I would like to see make a resurgence.
Yeah.
And then, probably, so I've always had like, a collection of my old boards. And like probably through the mid 2000s, I'd quietly stalk Craigslist and find some boards here and there. I maybe had like 10 or 15 boards. And then the last decade, I started ramping up a little bit more. And then, I think when the VBC started, I probably had maybe 25 or 30 boards in the collection, when I first joined in the VBC. And then, I kind of went a little viral on it, kind of a little crazy, kind of a little OCD, stockpiling the boards.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, do you have your first board? Did you manage to keep your very first board ever?
I don't have my very first board, but my very first board was a Mori Boogie 143 with skegs on it. Do you remember Paul McClure?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So Paul and me were neighbors. Paul's my best friends. Paul sold it to me because he upgraded to a Mach 7.7. So, my very first board, I can show it to you. I'll grab it from the pile, but that was my very first board. So, through the years, I know which boards, have the most meaning to me personally that I've ridden, and I've literally been able to recollect everything that had sentimental value because it was what I ridden, during my journey as a bodyboarder.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. So, do you have an absolute back there? I know you've got more than that stack there, but do you have an absolute favorite that is just your, bar anything, no matter what the conditions are, it's going to perform for you? Do you have a board like that?
I do. Yeah, I got a couple of those. Like one of them is not really here. It's actually with a shaper. They're making a custom version of it.
Oh,
but
nice.
Then I have another couple that are high up on the list. My Custom X PRPs on high up on the list. That was one of my favorite boards. I managed to recollect a very nice copy of it.
Nice.
So yeah. So as far as like, people ask me what my favorite boards are in the quiver, my favorite boards are ones that have personal meaning to me that I used to ride back in the day, that performed well for me. So those are my favorite board in my collection.
Nice. Yeah. So do you have
a
favorite like texture or skin or core or anything that I got to have that, when I ride?
A lot of it's a template based, I kind of like that wide style template.
Yeah.
I think, just from riding the bend board, I got used to riding that style board. And then the PRP, that was a 1998 Custom X. Here, let me go grab that one here.
Okay.
There you go. Here's the board I'm talking about right now.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, this came out in 1998. When Custom X kind of first jumped into polypro boards. It is super light. The template's amazing. Just has the right amount of flex. It's really soft. Like it was just an all-around good board. I got 198. I had 2 really good endo trips on it. Then a couple years later, I left at my driver's house there. The board eventually just kind of deteriorated from being used for years. So I found this one in Maui right before Maui trip, and I was so stoked to be able to recollect a good version of this one. I've seen others that had reverse rockers that were beat. So I looked at others and didn't get them, but I was super stoked to be able to recollect this one. And I ride this one sometimes. I'll still take it out and ride it. I ride it at Kaiser's or at Walls, I read a couple other spots, and it still works great. It's so nice and user friendly.
Yeah. Now, do you have one that like you go like a I don't know, like a chef and go get that knife to do that product and that board to do that? I mean, do you have boards that ride for certain different conditions and stuff? Or
I do, yeah.
Oh, you do?
And Yeah, I do. I have certain boards that ride for certain spots. Yeah.
Wow.
Some boards I have plugs, some boards I don't. Yeah, some boards I'll use for certain, like, for a short break board I use a different board than like a regular daily driver. Sometimes I'm just in a mood to ride certain boards,
Yeah.
So I'll have a couple of them in the car and then just kind of decide when I get there,
cool.
set off the ride.
Yeah.
It's been nice with all the
Do you have any
it's been nice with all the reissues lately.
Do you have any favorite colors of any of your boards? Attracted to one that's got a certain color, like black or
It doesn't matter so much. I guess I like the pink rails, because when you ride that, it just kind of has the nostalgic feel from the old Ben boards.
Yeah.
But besides that, I try not to go black on the deck, just because of the way they heat up. I try to go lighter colors if possible. But then I kind of like a mixture of colors too. I like something that kind of stands out that someone could see a mile away and go, that's Jordan's board or something like that. But and then I guess I try to stay away from like the black decks and like the darker colors, just for the sun heating up and melting the wax factor on them. But if I get a board that's black, it's I guess not really that big of a deal. I'm not going to turn away a board because it's got a certain color. But I try to mix it up as much as I can.
That's cool. Steve Johnson, he's saying hi from the Jersey Shore right now.
Oh, what's up, Steve? How's it?
Oh, good.
Good. Nice.
That's cool. All right. Well, let's get into some of the boards. You're gonna. What are we gonna do? We're gonna go down your pictures. You're gonna show us some of those ones in the back there.
Yeah, let's show some ones in the back. I'll just pull some out and talk about some boards.
Yeah, let's talk about some boards.
All right. Well, cool. So we already talked about the PRP right there. So
yeah.
This one. There you go. That's a Mori 143.
Wow.
So this was my first bodyboard. I have pictures of me holding it, I think in Capitola, Santa Cruz area, probably around 1986 or so. I think is when I got one of these.
Yeah. So that would be 143, did you say? Is that what it says? Yeah.
The 143, which I think on the Baha'i calendar, I think that means 1986, I think.
Yeah, because 132 was what, 75, 76. So it'd be 10, 11 years after. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So I remember I got that one. It was after I graduated from junior high. And I went in, I think that was 1987. So I think the board, it might have been 87 or 86. Paul had it for a while and then sold it to me. So yeah, that was kind of my first board. And, I have good memories on it. I had my original board, I had skegs on, which at the time we thought were cool. And at the time we thought would help you kind of hold the line as you go down the face. I graduated from riding whitewater, at Seacliff in Aptos, Santa Cruz area. I graduated up to riding like Pleasure Point and the Hook and all these like surf spots. At the time we thought that skegs on the board help, You look at some of the high end, like the turbo boards with skeg boxes and, it was kind of the age of innocence and the kind of the age of experimentation for board design. So yeah, I have good memories on that. Just, turning and trimming down the line, like on a surf break, thinking like this is the best thing ever. And then eventually, I graduated up to Mach 7.7 after it. And it's like, okay, now I can spin, or now you can, now you can do stuff without skegs.
Ah, how funny. Wow.
Yeah. So that board has a lot of sentimental value to me. Let's see. What else? Here you go. This is a pretty cool board right here.
Wow, I remember that.
Remember that?
Yes.
I remember the early gear guides, maybe 1987 or so, seeing the JP Patterson Airwaves boards with the design and being amazed at how cool it looked.
Yeah.
But given that I grew up in Northern California, the shops in Santa Cruz didn't have any of these boards in stock. So I remember looking at the magazine, seeing all these board brands that I never got to see in person.
Yeah.
That was the time too.
Wasn't that Ape? Wasn't that the gloves too? Wasn't that Ape gloves?
Yeah. So JP actually, he came into the VBC and gave a little story that he used to write for Ape, and then they had the Airwaves boards, and then once Airwaves shut it down, I think JP bought the equipment and just rebranded Ape. So this was probably also late 80s, but it was one of JP's personal boards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I actually had a buddy buy this one, when JP put it on eBay, and then I traded my buddy 2 really good boards for it. So yeah, it was definitely high up on the list of dream boards that I always wanted.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
And JP's boards are very much in demand. The Airwaves boards,
Are they?
there's a lot of people out there wanting them. So his boards, his design, his technology, his channel rails, everything. They're very much in demand.
So
So
what is that one of the most demanding type boards? I mean, is that, you know what I'm saying? Like, is that one of the ones that is people ask for the most?
it would be up there. I'd say maybe more in California than let's say like in Australia or other places around the world.
Uh-huh.
But I'd say there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of stoke and froth on the old JP boards with this multi deck skin deck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at this. This is. These are separate pieces of foam right here.
Oh,
Do we
wow.
see
Yeah.
do we see anybody making boards with taking the time to cut out this much foam
No.
and run it together? We don't see that anymore.
And what is the chance of that, like, the breakage factor on that with that many? I mean, they're just what, how's that hold up, I should say?
I have no idea. I've never ridden this one.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that is JP on that. This went straight to the pool room.
Okay.
In my case, my storage.
Yeah.
This went straight to the storage, but it's beautiful to look at. It
That's awesome.
represents a great time in the sport where everyone was experimenting with different things, trying to standardize on what works.
Yeah. Now, what is the oldest board you have? Is that 143 one that you have, that BE? Or do you have something older than that?
Well, I guess that's the oldest one that I have here in my house right now, but I have a 132 BE.
Oh, you
So
do?
I guess, and I actually have a kit board also. So I think the kit board's probably even older, right?
Uh-huh.
So those are actually they're in California right now though, so I can't really show them off. I have a stack of boards at my parents' house in my old room in Campbell, like Santa area. Yeah, so I have a huge stack of boards from floor to the ceiling that have been lined up there, and every time I visit, I come back with 6 or 8 more of them. So it's kind of a long process to get my collection into one place. I don't know if it's ever going to happen because I occasionally add more every time I'm there. So I add more to the collection, but then I bring more to Hawaii. So it's kind of a never-ending thing.
Yeah, we got a couple good questions here. Let's go back to this one. How many total seams are on that board, would you say? I mean, they have to glue all those together, right? So it's like.
Well, you got the rail seams. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I guess you got from rail to rail, you got 10 different seams here.
Wow, that's a good chance for some serious delamination right there.
I would think so. Yeah, I would think so. I don't.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, back in the day, back in the 80s, how they held up over time. I'd never seen one of these in person until recently. So I'm really stoked to have this because it's one of those boards you always looked at in the bag and you dreamed about. Wondering how it's going to ride. How cool it was, but I never got to see one. Maybe if I lived in Southern California, maybe if I was going to the shops down there in the 80s, I don't know, did Jack's or some of those shops, did they have all these different boards?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never got to see them, so it's kind of cool to finally be able to hold one.
You got some comments coming through. Amazing to see those old boards without creases on the bottom, which is so true.
It is, yeah. I know sometimes I have seen boards for sale, and you look at the deck, you're like, okay, it looks cool, and then you see the bottom picture, and it's like wah wah wah. It's like, never mind.
Yeah,
I do have some that have creases.
Yep. Okay, Steve Jordan asks, as a rider for Custom X, I'm curious, what is the oldest CX board you have in your collection?
Oldest Custom X board. I got one from 1993. It's not here at the house, but I got that. I'm trying to think if I have anything older than that I've recollected. I started riding for Custom X around 1992. I had a couple of personal boards that you buy one, you ride it, you'd sell to a friend to use the money to buy a new board. So I don't have any of those, but I think probably 1993 would maybe be the oldest. Oh. Actually, hold on here. Here we go. This is the Custom X Nels board. One, I think this one was probably around either 1993 or 94 when this came out.
Yeah, because that's when Nels was kind of in his heyday right then, so that makes sense.
I'm thinking 93. Looking at the stamp, I'm thinking that was a 93 board.
Now, has that ever been used? Has that board ever been used?
You know,
It doesn't look like it.
maybe very, very lightly. I wouldn't be surprised if it hasn't been used. Never unplugged, and I don't know. I don't know if it's been used or not. I had a buddy pick this one up for me, and
Yeah,
it feels pretty much new.
yeah, it looks.
So remember, this
from what I can see, it looks new. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a cool time too. But this is when, you know, Custom X, they used to be, you know, W shape on the garage and stuff, and then around '93 they hit a stride where, you know, they blew up. You know, they brought in Dave Kniff to be the VP. You know, Keith Gressick was a sales rep. You know, they brought over Mike Fleming. You know, Nick, you know, rebranded him as the man. And the Nels board was awesome. It came out as a stock board, and it was, you know, it was like a just great top of the line all around rider board. The only problem with the Nels board is they only came out in 41 inches, and I was kind of too tall for a 41. So I had friends who were shorter. I had friends who were shorter who rode them and loved them. They're like, "Oh, this is the best board ever. This board rips." I'm like, "Yeah, darn it, I'm a little too tall."
Made it smaller too for Nels, didn't they? Because, you know, he was shorter and whatever.
Yeah, Nels is shorter. Nels isn't as tall as I am. So they only made it in a 41. You know, I always kind of hoping that they would have made a bigger version of it.
Yeah,
you know, at the time,
daddy version of it. This question, I think he might have been. I missed it from one of the first boards to have channel rails. I think that was the 8 board. Was 8?
That was the 8 board. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Here's the channel rails. They are really. Let's see. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
You see that?
Yep.
And I didn't even know that until recently. You know, I didn't. You know, like I said, I never seen one of those back in the day. I just saw the pictures in the mag, so I didn't know about the channel rails. But I remember other companies came out with channel rails in the 90s and the 2000s. But yeah, JP was doing it since the 80s.
Okay. Now, is there anything back behind you there you want to show us before we get to your quiver? You know, some of the pictures of your quiver you're going to explain to us. Or do
we can just kind of show some more boards here.
Or do you want to go right to your pictures and your quiver there? It's up to you.
Oh, which one's the one that were on the Instagram there?
Yeah.
I guess we can.
Or do you have some back there you want to show us?
We can show more boards here.
Okay. Because I know people are interested, so don't be shy.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. Here's another cool board that I like to show off.
Oh wow,
that's a diamond stringer.
Rails.
Yeah, look at the rails. Look at these stickers on the bottom too.
Wow. Yeah.
This is cool. Sign of the times. I bought this from an old guy. Check out this one out in Sacramento of all places. You know, I found it. I grabbed my way back from a snowboard trip. Talked to the guy who owned it. He was telling me stories about him being in the military in Hawaii in the early '90s, and you know, taking it out at Pipe. I mean, he probably met Ahu Kai, but you know, he's telling the story. He's telling us war stories and how well the sport treated him. So that's pretty stoked to see it, and very stoked to get it.
Let me ask you something. Would that be something someone would do so they could try to get more money out of you? I mean, you know, like I don't want to get rid of it and I'm attached to it and all that, or I mean,
I don't think so. You know, I think this guy just wanted to tell the stories on the board and stuff like that. You know, if he could charge more for it. You know, I would have paid it, but it wasn't one of the cheaper boards I've gotten, but it was still definitely worth it. So I've, you know, a lot of times I've told people, you know, I tell people I collect boards, you know, when I'm buying them off them, because sometimes, you know, you can find boards for cheap when people are cleaning out the garage. They don't really know that if it's collectible or not. So sometimes you wonder if you should not say anything, because then people will, you know, try to jack the price up. Ooh, this is collectible. Let me research it and put it on eBay. But a lot of the coolest, you know, sales I've had is where I've told the people, they're like, oh, I'm so stoked it's going to go to someone who appreciates it. You know, I used to love that board back in the day, and I show them pictures of, you know, my quiver and my collection. And I'm like, okay, here, it's gonna be in storage with this collection. It's gonna be showcased, you know, for, you know, for
right, we got somebody coming in live here to ask you a question. So
sure.
All right. Go ahead and ask away. See if it's well, we got somebody. See?
Can you hear me?
Good. I see a Jubro there. All right.
Nope. Okay. All right. Well, let's go. Let's keep going. And if anybody wants to come in like that, you know.
Sure. Sure.
But it didn't look like there was
open discussion here. Open discussion. Hold on here. What else? There we go. You probably like these ones here.
Oh wow! What year is that? Circa
1990-ish.
1990-ish.
Yeah, this is one of the first 1,000 bend boards.
Wow.
So number 440. Beautiful condition. Had been signed in 2014. It's funny. He tripped out. You know, like I went to one of the Sandy Beach contests, and I brought that one. I also brought this one right here. This is the T10.
Wow.
I brought him in a board bag. I kind of hid the boards, and Ben was kind of, working. The judge, he was working, contest check, and I'm like, hey, Ben, can you sign a couple bodyboards for me? And then he's like, okay, sure. And I pulled him out of the bag, and like his mouth, his jaw almost hit the floor. He just tripped out on that. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool.
So I think this one here, the number Ben, this has a lot of meaning to me because I used to ride one of these, and before that I was riding like Mori Mach 7s, Mach 7 SSs.
Yeah.
And then I was in Hawaii, and I left my board in the car in a board bag when we went snorkeling in Hanauma Bay, and my Mach 7 SS, the Swiftkin bubbled to hell, so I was very sad about it. So I was like, okay, death to the Mach 7 SS, I had the first generation, but at the time that was cool. But then, so my dad felt bad. He's like, okay, we can get you any board you want here, in Hawaii. So I looked at the turbo shop, I looked at TNC shop, and then, I was looking at one of the turbo boards, say, one of Russ Brown's creations of the vinyl decks and graphics. But then instead I went for the bend board because, they didn't really have those in Hawaii. So I went for the bend board, and like I came home with it. It was stiff Arcel. It was just dead flat. Took my first wave and just I pearled. Like I couldn't even ride it. It was so flat and so different from what I was used to.
What?
But then once.
Go ahead. I was just going to read this question. Is that a lemon lime Pat Caldwell board behind you?
Possibly.
Oh.
I'll grab those next. Yeah.
Okay. And then the next question is, I got another question here. Patty, what board would you be excited to see the most? Oh, well, let's see. I would probably, let's see. I have the most amazing board right now anyway, so I don't know if I could get excited about anything else, but I have a custom Guilherme Tomega template from the old school days. And that board, I'm telling you, but I would probably be excited to see, I guess I would probably be excited to see a 132BE 2600. You have that, one of the little thin ones.
I do. I have one of the little thin 132s. It's in California. I have. Yeah.
So anyway, that's a great question, and thank you for asking it because it's kind of exciting seeing all these boards since you've lived through all these different eras that they came out.
Yeah.
Back to the lemon lime Pat Caldwell.
All right, lemon lime Pat Caldwell.
Let's see if that's what that is back there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There we go. Look at this thing here.
Wow, that looks like it's waterlogged.
It's not actually. It's pretty light. It would be actually a nice rideable board. Have Pat signed it recently.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is the only Pat Caldwell. Of the old school Pats, this is the only time I've actually seen this color here. Most of them were blue and white or blue white with yellow rails. I have a blue and green one also, but this is the only one I've seen in this color.
Wow. Well, Steve spotted it somehow he spotted it back there, or maybe he knows you have it or something.
Yeah, and check this out here. Pat Caldwell did the step rail bodyboard, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just recently released those, so I got one and I was thinking, okay, what should I do for my colors? Like I was looking at a couple different ideas. I'm like, let's do a lemon line step rail. So
look at you.
Here's the deck.
Wow.
I did a white rail. I did a green bottom.
Wow, that's a nice looking board.
Yeah. So
what number is that?
I used this board as inspiration for it, and then instead of doing a split deck because they didn't have green and they weren't doing split decks on these, I just made the bottom green.
Nice.
Yeah.
So,
So
what number are
this
you on the board? Isn't that a?
I'm number 25 on it.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, you jumped on it.
Truth be told, I don't really. It doesn't really phase me on what number it was. Like I didn't even know the number on there because I'm gonna ride and destroy it anyways. So it's not. By the time I'm done with it, it's not really have much collector value. It's a rider board.
Exactly. As I'm watching you, I'm thinking about what the people that are watching are thinking, and they're probably just going, holy moly. I mean, not only do you have boards, that are like all over California and Hawaii, but you also have boards that are sitting there. And you have you ever done a ledger on what you've got? I mean, what your collection's worth?
I have no idea what it'd be worth, to be honest. I haven't thought about that, but
gosh, as a collector, you think, well, I've got, $25,000 worth of boards, or I don't know. It just came to my mind when I saw those boards. But
I would think more. Well, I like to think more anyways. So I'm not sure. I always kind of had that thought. Okay, what if someone came along and offered to buy every board for me with a lump sum money? How much I would sell? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, and what is the? I mean, like one of those band boards has got to be what, $600 or something like that? Are they that much or?
Oh, more. They're worth more, a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot more than that.
Wow. Well, see, that's why I'm thinking the audience probably, like myself, doesn't know this kind of stuff. You're in that business, so and you're over there talking to people and seeing sales and scoring boards. And what would you say was the best score? Like you got a $800 board for $20 at a garage sale. Do you have any kind of story like where you really scored something?
I have a lot of boards that I've scored like that. So a lot I've scored like that. I guess let's see. I'll look through here. I guess the Shawnee board I got for $25. The BZ Shawnee, board, which is kind of like a mini bend board. That was really cheap. The Nels board that I showed you, not that one, but I had another sister board to that, same condition, everything, that I got for $25. And I actually since then I traded it to Lewin Nguyen, who was on here. I traded to him. I had two of them. So no, I have a lot of boards like that. The custom XPRP I showed you, I think $40 in Maui. So no, there's tons of boards that I found for cheap.
That's got to be.
This was also
a stone.
Yeah, it's fun. This was also too before, I think recently, last couple of years, a lot more people have started collecting, so it's a little harder to get boards. The scores tend to go a lot faster because a lot of people, searching, and then a lot of people know where to search now.
Yeah.
I think when the VBC started, I was searching in places where other people weren't, so I found boards that were just sitting for sale for like 6 months. Like, hey, do you have this board? I know the ad was 6 months ago. And like, oh yeah, I still have it, but now like that board it'd be gone within hours.
Oh, isn't that something? That's so cool, though, in a way. It's so cool. So Paul McClare says, museum ?
One day, Paul. We were just talking about you earlier, and one day, hopefully.
Museum.
It would be fun. It'd be great to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Money obviously is a little challenged for
Yeah. Well,
you would money to be able to do that. Yeah.
Are you the one that has the most boards, would you say, or do you know somebody that's got more boards than you?
There's people that have more than me. Russell Morrison in Australia, he has more.
Really?
I'm trying to think if anybody else has more. I'm up there.
Yeah.
But I know one thing with my collection versus other people's is there might be some people that have more. There's some people that have like maybe mintier collections, like better conditioned boards, or some that have more, maybe more valuable. But I think I have the most diverse collection. Like there's a lot of collectors out there that they want every board from two brands. Like they'll be like, I'm a Mori collector. I want everything that Mori made, or I want everything that BZ made.
Oh wow.
I'd rather have two boards from every brand than have every board from two brands.
Yeah.
So my collection kind of I like try to mimic the gear guides that used to show like just all these all these like, you know,
Yeah.
good brands and offshoot brands. And I like to just kind of know that, hey, I have an eliminator in my collection, or I have this brand in my collection.
That's a quiver. Yeah, you have a quiver of a little bit of everything. Exactly. All right, let's go through.
Yeah.
I got questions coming in here. So, I Spy Challenger Kwai Classic back there too. Is that a Dynacore back there?
Yeah, it is. You want to see that, Steve? You want to see it? All right, let's bust these out here.
Okay, and then we got Jim asking, what are some of the boards that are the most valued? Well, you just talked about the bend board.
Yeah, the most valued would be the number bend. That would be the most valued, and also the bend 10. Those would be at the top of the list there. I think this is the one that Steve is asking about, the Kwai Classic Dynacore.
Oh wow, look at that. That is ancient. That's what, 91?
A 91, 92. These boards I thought had a lot of significance. You know, they are super, super light.
Wow.
They had some quality, they had some QC issues where they had a lot of rocker and they would break easy just because they were such a light, low density core. But at the time, you know, boards were heavy PE or heavy RCL, and these came out, and it's like, wow, look how light these things are. And then what's pretty cool with these is, you know, I went over to Kauai for Harry's 50th birthday, and the Kwai Classic guys were there, so I had all of them sign the board too.
Oh, how cool! Oh,
yeah. So I got pictures with Harry, Jason Brown, Chris Tember, Kyle Maligro, Chris Burkhart. So they were all there, and we had them. I brought 3 boards over with me to Kauai and have them sign them. And this was another one too. So this was a PE board. This board, I actually, this one got signed also. Right before I started riding for Custom X, I used to ride one of these. It was my daily driver Santa Cruz board, like very wide nose. You know, it was PE, so flexible, good with the cold water. So I have a lot of good memories on that one, and that was kind of for years at the top of my list on what I wanted to recollect. Here's another Kauai Classic right here.
You've got a Jordan Nita, a Cutmaster Bodyboard, king of the quirky boards that came out.
Oh, I'd love to find one of those. Didn't Kevin Wood? He made those or had those, I think. Yeah, I'd love to find one of those. Oh, this board's pretty significant here too. Check out this one. This one does have a little bit of creases on it. This was Harry Antipala's personal contest board. This is the one that he won, I think, the Imperial Beach contest with, or whatever contest he won back when he did the Bud Pro contest in the early 90s.
And you have?
I got it from Harry a couple of years back.
Oh.
Yeah, I bought it off Harry. You know,
Cool.
moving and tired of storing it. You know, so and this board is it's crazy light. Like it's like you pick it up, it's like a feather. But I guess back then, you know, when you're doing Bud Pros, you know, you wanted that lightness was a competitive advantage for doing floppos and, you know, 1 to 2 foot beach break.
Yeah. Glenn's asking, how many places do you have boards stashed? California, I know.
They're kind of getting condensed down. Yeah, I have a big stash at my parents' house. Lewin, you know, was one of my stash places in Southern California. I think I'm down to 1 or 2 boards with Lewin now that I've bought off from recently. I have a couple of different friends' houses. You know, sometimes I kind of forget where I have boards. I have some in Australia too. You know, Danny McCallum's got some boards recently. He got some Madrid boards for me. So yeah. So I guess Australia, you know, various places in California. I know I have a board out in Florida for me. But as much as possible, I try to condense it as much as possible down to, you know, my old room at my parents' house.
Yeah. Well,
so it's kind of an ongoing project, that's for sure. There were some times where I had boards literally all over California, and when we visit, you know, I'd do road trips, and my wife would laugh at me because I'd be meeting people like off the freeway, you know, driving to San Diego, meeting at places in LA and Orange County to pick up a board. So it was kind of comical.
Wow. Any, what does this say? Any mantas in your collection?
I do. I'm trying to think if I have any here. Actually, I have an Eppo gun here, kind of one of the newer ones. And then in my storage, I have the gator skin Eppo. And I have a Manta wing nut also. So that one's in my storage. But yeah, I have a couple mantas.
Well, that's very cool. Okay, so I got to just put this question up. We can't do it tonight. But Patty, do you have any cool Paul Roach stories?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, well, first of all, he lived, like what? Oh gosh, not that far from me. Here, 20 miles south. But he wouldn't. If I walked past him at the mall, he would not even know me or recognize me, because keep in mind, it's been 30 years, and I'm now 74, and he's 40 something, whatever. But I do have some funny stories, especially the first time I saw him ride when he was like 17. I was a judge that day, and he literally blew my mind. But he was good from day one, just absolutely unbelievable. Let's get back to Jordan. This is all about Jordan.
I'll say with Roach, it's crazy though when you go back on YouTube and you watch Roach from Bodyboarding Enough Said, when that came out, 1989, 1990.
Yeah.
That first hack he does, on that whole section, where first he's spinning around with the camera, and then that first hack he does is mind blowing. It's amazing. He was just like an athletic freak when it comes to drop knee,
Yeah, because we were judging that day, I remember being up in the judging, and when he got out on his heat, we all were going, what? Like, who? Stuttering, like, who is that? No, he charged onto the scene like there was no charging, and
deservedly so, And
then I saw him through. He didn't, one or two maybe BIAs when we went pro, and then I didn't see him again. A BIM cover, I remember that, and didn't really actually see him again for 30 years, until last November at the APB down at Imperial Beach. I saw him. I don't think he saw me, but I saw him, and I go, dang. It's just, anyway, that's the story, I guess, a real quick one. But I was really impressed to see him. He was with Paul. I think he was with Paul today. Yeah. Anyway, let's go back to your quiver. Do you want to? Thanks for answering my question. My question. I wrote you wrote the Manta Pro X for years. Okay.
Oh, nice. Manta story. I had bought one of those Manta Ross Hawk boards. There was a bodyboard shop in San Luis Obispo called Pacific Leisure. It was 3 hours south of Santa Cruz. And we go down there, we could see all these cool new boards that we didn't see in our home zone. And I bought the Manta Pro Ross Hawk, and I honestly hated it. But it was big, and it had this really grippy deck that I felt like I just couldn't do anything on it. But I used to do contests, and I would turn my jerseys inside out because I didn't like the way that the contest the sponsor logos would stick to me when I try to spin. So I didn't like it. I sold it really quickly. So, back in the day, that was my first exposure to the Manta boards. Is like that grippy deck just did not work for the way I ride.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like it, so, but it's kind of one of those to each their own kind of things. But recently, I have a couple Epo guns, and I have a wing nut.
Wow.
I've come across other Manta boards, and the Manta boards to me a lot of times are kind of tradable because I got the ones I wanted, and then anyone else I come across, they're good trades, like having the baseball card where you have numerous copies of it, and then you use it as trade bait for something else.
Well, we're
to me, Manta.
We're blazing through this hour. I cannot believe it. I knew this was going to happen. So let's get to your. Can we get to your pictures now, and you tell us what we got going?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, so so let's see. I'm on we're streaming the Instagram page right now, right?
Right. Yeah, and you can just scroll and talk whatever one you want. If you're just joining us, we're with Jordan Stallard, who has an amazing collection of bodyboards from throughout the years. And we've been showing a couple that are back behind him. If you want to see it later, just go back and look at some of the ones he talks about. Now we're going to go into some of the ones that aren't with him, but he owns, and tell us a little bit, some story. Yeah. Okay.
So I guess, let's see. So I just started this Instagram page a couple weeks ago. I've had a photo album of my boards, on my phone for a while, and then people ask if I have something, and I can grab on the phone, repost it. But I just, I just fired up this page a couple weeks ago, and I, also talked to some other collectors, to fire up, a similar page. So, I got VBC _ Jordan, we got VBC _ Glenn, VBC _ Dean. So
Nice.
I thought it'd be pretty cool just to have, the more of us just can put our collections up on Instagram, the better. Instagram, it's just
awesome.
Nice, convenient, easy way to showcase your boards. And there's some pretty cool hashtags that we got going too, which also make it easy. So I'm also going to use this to kind of keep a mental note of myself, what boards I actually have in my collection, how many I have. Because I kind of lost track of how many I have. But once I get them up here, then I'll know. And then if I sell or trade a board, then I'll just delete it from the page. So these are, eventually this is just going to be an ongoing project. I still have a bunch of board photos I've taken. The reason my boards are here at my house, I brought them back last week to take board photos for this.
Nice.
You can see the one with the rock background, that's just in my front yard. So
yeah,
I've been taking these photos and just kind of posting 1 or 2 a day, when I have time, just to try to get, just get the catalog out here.
So
then
I was asking, do you have any pics of the Science MS? What is it, MS7 there? Do you have any of those?
MS7, I don't know. I don't have an MS7. And these are just my vintage boards, so I'm not going to be putting, I have reissue boards that I ride that I have too. I'm not going to be putting those on here. So these are just the vintage ones. And I actually don't have any Science boards in my collection yet. I'll get one eventually, but I just don't have one yet. But I know, I can find one when I need.
They're relatively new on the scene, aren't they? I mean, they're not like vintage.
Yeah, they started in the late 90s, so they kind of, in the late 90s, I guess you'd call those vintage, but then they kind of transitioned to be one of the premier modern board companies. So yeah, eventually I'll put one of the first generation Sciences in here.
Tell us what you got there on those pictures. What are some of those boards?
Well, let's see. So this is the number Ben you just saw. Here's the T10 that you saw. Let's see. Here's a BZ. Here's a BZ All Slick. Let's see. Hold on. I have to log in here. Oh yeah. Okay. There we go. Okay. Here's the BZ All Slick. That's a pretty cool board. That one's in my storage. It has a slick skin deck. Like everything's slick. So the deck is slick. The rails are slick. The bottom is slick.
Nice.
Back in the late 80s, you see these in the magazines. Ben Severson, Seamus, and crew were writing these.
Yeah.
Big, having a slick skin deck allowed you to put your sponsor logos on the deck.
Right. You ever have you Ben?
Say again?
Do you ever see Seamus or Ben?
I see Ben from time to time. I see him usually at the contest. I haven't seen Seamus, but I know he's I think he's a fire captain or firefighter. He's something in the fire department. So I know he's around.
Wow.
I haven't ran into him. But so this is one of the ones that's kind of high up on the collection. But then what's pretty cool too is we did these hashtags. So like if I'm tagging my BZ boards VBC_BZ, and if you go to this hashtag, you follow it, it's going to show everybody's BZ boards who's kind of followed along. So all the other collectors, who have posted their boards and done the same hashtag, now you're seeing my boards mixed in with everybody else's boards.
Oh, that's very cool.
Like these Hoku hard, like this is Glenn Polacare right here. He puts the board. So I actually really like how Glenn did that. I kind of wish I did that mine, but maybe I may reshoot my board photos and do that.
What did you put it at an angle or something? I can't see it so small.
Oh, can you see now?
Yeah. What did you do different?
Well, when he shot the board, he writes the title of the board here in the photos. So he basically shot his boards from further away and left some space at the bottom to write in the name of the board.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool because then it presents itself really nicely. So then we go to Glenn's page here.
Yeah.
And look at Glenn's catalog. He writes all the names of the boards there.
Wow. We should have got him on tonight too. He should call in.
Yeah. He's around. Can you call in? Glenn, you there?
Yeah, I can put call in, or he can come in live.
Well, let's get Glenn in here. Yeah, I always like to talk to Glenn. Glenn's awesome.
I've got a let's see. Let's see if it'll go as a scroll across the bottom.
All right. So let's see here.
Because you're on screen share, it will not show the phone number. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, he can call in.
Okay. Oh, here you go. You guys asked about the Manta. Here's my Manta winged out right here.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, someone was asking about that.
If someone's asking. So I have this one in my quiver. See if I have any other mantas in here. Oh yeah, here's the Epo gun. This is kind of with the old texture deck. So I have that one. I have another Manta Epo gun that I haven't taken pictures of yet, but I will. Mach 7SS first generation. This is the board I had that got got the slick bubbled when I was in Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
So this is what I used to ride one of these. Yeah, there's the lemon lime Pat Caldwell. There's Kenobi Keyboard. I know a lot of people like this one. This
yeah. Boy, that's an oldie. Look at that.
Yeah, this board is actually. Hold on. Yeah, this board is actually right here. Can you guys see that?
No, because we got it on screen share, but I can put it up.
Oh, you got screen share.
You want me, hold on a sec. Let me put it up for you. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you have a Kainoa too. Wow.
Yeah, so this is the Kainoa that's in the picture there, and I got Kainoa to sign it also in December. That was pretty cool.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he's a little slippery. He's a little loose to track down, but I saw him at Sandy's lifeguard, and so I just saw him there, and I just ran to my storage, which is like 5 minutes away, and grabbed the board and came back. And luckily, he was on his work break. He was riding, so I just ran up after he caught a wave. He was on the beach. Hey, can you sign this for me? And I got pictures of it. This board came from San Diego. This was funny. This board, kind of this older lady posted it. She's very eccentric, talked on the phone. She was very out there, and I think probably a bunch of people were lining up to get this one, but I was one of the first. I had a buddy go bring money real fast for it, but then she told me about how she had a crush on Kainoa when she was a little girl and all this kind of stuff, and how hot he was. And I'm like, I know Kainoa. She's like, I'll sell it to you if you can get a picture of him with my board. That would satisfy my schoolgirl crush dreams. So it took a while to get, but I had her phone number still. I took the pictures of him signing it and holding the board up, and I actually sent it to her, and then she was so stoked. Yeah, so I came through on that promise to her. I said, yeah, one day I'll get him to sign it, and I'll send you pictures of him holding your board. So she was very stoked. She's like, you tell him he's hot,
Tell him he's hot. Jordan, I've got a question that came in. It says, hold up your phone and ask Jordan if he has a pro team board. Right there. You see it?
I've never heard of a pro team board, but I guess now I got to add it to my bucket list of offshoot brands to add to the collection. Darn it. You see that, sometimes people will post like another brand. I'm like, oh, I forgot about them. Okay, my hunt is still going. I don't have everything yet.
Featuring the Pro Team Rocket, built for performance. Man,
I never heard about that. So, okay.
Yeah, Newport Beach. Yeah. At Caldwell, Pro Team. Oh my gosh. Okay, Tony, you got us on that one.
You saw me there, so I guess I'll have to research it. I was pretty stoked to have this one. Remember Eliminator bodyboards?
Oh yes. Wow.
Bikinis in the bag, wacky vinyl decks. That picture of Bill Hebner with that bottom turn with the look on his face like he's going to kill you if you drop in it as a wave. You always kind of wonder what they're all about, but you never.
You have a Pipo board? Not a Pipo board, but Rio Pipo? Do you have Rio Pipo?
I do, yeah. I have Rio Pipos. Not here, but I do.
Okay, so we got a question here. What's the oldest board you own?
That would be either the 132 BE, the mini one that you were talking about, or it would be the Mori kit board. Be one of those.
Do you have either of those behind you?
No, I don't. Those are actually both at my parents' house in California.
Yeah, those are two very special boards there. Yeah, I would definitely check those.
They're boxed away. I haven't brought them out here yet. They're
the 2300 in. Is it in pretty good shape?
Which one? The 132?
Yeah, the 2300, the little one.
It's in okay shape. I can hold on. I have pictures. Hold on. Let me hold up my phone here.
Okay. We got another question coming in while you're doing that. What is the oldest board that you own? And you answered that one. And what about we'll get it up here. Hold on a second.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hold on here. Okay, I can't really see you for some reason here.
Oh,
There you go.
wow.
Can you see the picture there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's in pretty
Right.
good, decent shape. Yep.
Yeah, that came from JP Patterson. So
Oh, no kidding.
he was
Wow.
he was condensing down. So this one came from JP a couple of years ago. Here's the Mori Keyboard right here.
Oh, wow. It's a blue one. Wow.
Yeah. So I think that one's in relatively good shape, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Would
It's
I'd love to ask what you paid for that. You don't mind?
which one? This one?
Yeah, the kit board.
Not sure if I should answer that, but it was a good deal though.
Okay. All right. Don't answer it. Okay. Here's another question. Do you also collect accessories and fins?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Not really. Not really.
Well,
I
enough on
actually
your
I have I would collect some of the crazy offshoot accessories. Like I have a pair of fins. Like, do you remember the skegs that you drill on, you screw into your fins? I have those. If I could find some fins, I would want those. So I guess I kind of like the crazy stuff. Like remember back in the day in the Bodyboard magazine, you see all these really crazy accessories that you look at it and be like, no way in hell no way in hell it's gonna work. Yeah, pause a track, there's no way in hell that's gonna work.
I know.
So I don't chase it too much, and fins I don't chase too much because they, like the rubber kind of deteriorates on them.
Yeah.
But I guess for fins, I guess I collect old school Viper V5s.
Oh, wow.
But those are what I ride, so I collect them to put in a pile to ride them because those are still my favorite fins, and I like the way the old Vipers feel, the ones where Fred used to glue in the the neoprene pad on the roof of the foot pocket. So those are the only fins I collect, and they're to ride. I've come across some Redleys back in the day, and as soon as I get those, I'd trade them to someone or give them to someone who needs them.
Oh yeah, those were cool. So you and I,
cool,
Jan's saying you and I need a Bob Ford's Extreme Fun board.
I'm calling first dibs on that one, Louie. Once I find a second, I'll get you the second. But that's one of the ones that's kind of at the top of my want list.
Okay, so there you go. Now we know what you're looking for. Okay, and
that's one of the ones I want. Shade pins. Yeah.
Paul's asking about
web gloves.
Web gloves.
I don't collect those too much. I had a really good pair of BZ web gloves I got with the board purchase. I gave them to Damien Alexander from Australia. He started the VBC. I gave them to him to use. My dad hasn't surfed much recently, but my dad would always surf with web gloves. So he'd always use the apes. I rode for TFL for a little while. Like I used to be in the gloves until I got over it, and then I wasn't so much into them.
Wasn't apes the first one on the scene? I think they were. The ape gloves? I think webs, as far as I knew, webs might have been the first. Like those are the first ones I came across. Okay.
But then ape might have been the first, maybe down in Southern California, but the webs was kind of a popular brand in Santa Cruz regions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because apes was Southern Cal, yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you've shown us all your Instagram page, and it's growing, and it's under Jordan Stallard. Is there anything?
The Instagram's under VBC_Jordan.
Oh, that your what Instagram is?
Yeah. The Instagram, like I have a Jordan Stallard Instagram, but that's just my regular page for like wave photos and sunset photos and stuff. But then, Instagram's one of those things where, I end up creating different accounts for different things. Like I have one page, for my regular photography, the wave photos I take of riders, sunset photos, whatever. I have an Instagram page called Ducky Goes where I take pictures of rubber duck surfing.
Oh God!
I do the vintage bodyboard collectors Instagram page. I run just the general page there. I repost a lot of people's stuff. And then just a couple weeks ago, I did the VBC_Jordan just for my personal board collection.
Yeah, that's cool. And now you had it for today too. That's really good. And this will go, by the way, for those of you that are watching and want to go maybe look at it later, it's going to go to a whole bunch of different places. It'll stay on the Bodyboard BIM place. It'll go to History of Bodyboarding. It'll go to Patty Serrano's page. It'll go to my YouTube channel, Everything About Everything. And it'll go to my website, which is pattyserrano.com. So this will go out. And a lot of people do watch them later. So that's why I wanted to make sure we got everything. We got everything in. So didgeridoos, ? Come on.
Yeah.
7 o'clock. They're getting hungry, Jordan. They're looking for dinner now. This is.
I collect other things too. I've collected a lot of things over my life, and didgeridoos is one of the things I collect. I like to play the didgeridoo, collect them. So yeah, Paul's laughing too. They know about the didgeridoo collection.
A page for lunch pail.
Yeah, no, I haven't done the page for my lunch pail collection yet. I haven't done the page for my tech decks. I haven't done the page for yeah. I haven't done a page for all my CD collection because I sold most of those off before I moved to Hawaii. So yeah, I've kind of been a collector, I guess, over the years. I could make a page for my garbage pail kids that I probably have at my parents' house for those Star Wars toys I used to have. But I think of all the collections. Obviously, the bodyboards are the best.
You have an amazing collection, and I'm just so honored to have you and spend some time with you tonight. And we're up to the hour, so I was just going to wind a few things down here, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you. One question coming in here. Chris originally wrote that it was a 2600 or the 2300. I was the 2300. I might be wrong because what do you know it as, Jordan? The little board.
Me? I honestly have no idea. I got into bodyboarding probably around 1986, so that was way before my time.
It's the 2300. Tony's saying the 2600, so whatever.
Yeah, I would believe whatever Tony and all the old school riders who were around back then, riding back then, would know, because my knowledge of boards really takes off once I started bodyboarding, so probably around like 1986 on. I guess I may be kind of a little bit of a walking encyclopedia for a lot of boards, but before that, I have collections of the older boards.
300.
I don't know if it's on them,
300. But the point is, like when Lewin asked me what board would I get excited to see, because you see all your boards and they look like bodyboards or boogie boards, as they used to be called. But you see the 2300, and that board actually got a lot of groms. Like I remember, I've got pictures of my son that was like 4 and 5, and he was then eventually ended up standing up on it like a little surfboard. So that has a big place in history. If you can ever get your hands on that board, and only Maury built it. So I would say as time goes on, you're young, it's going to be worth probably more and more money. If you see one, don't discount it, because that was the first thing I thought I would be excited to see. So there you go. You had one. That's awesome. All right. So 2300, and Chris Powers he was probably the first one on it on the ads and stuff. It was so cool. What does he say? Jim's saying it's so cool to see a number of boards of friends that I used to see every day and completely forgot about. Yes, me too. I mean, seeing that Kenobi board and that the Kauai Classic. That was great, Jordan. Seeing
they bring back a lot of memories to a really cool time in the sport.
Is there any last minute things you want to tell us before we go? What you're looking for. Someone asked, what was the most expensive board you paid for? You didn't want to say, did you?
I think the most expensive was actually a Custom X Air Effects. And that one also I paid though, because the guy, he had to bring it from France, to bring it from France to California and drop it off at a buddy's house. So that one, I went for it.
And what was it?
So yeah.
How much was it?
Like $200 or so, $200 something.
Oh, golly Moses.
Yeah. Sometimes the boards are too expensive, if people are spend a lot of money on it, I'd rather let them have it, if it means that much to somebody, I try not to get in bidding wars on boards.
Yeah.
It's, like amongst us, amongst like my crew of collector friends too, like we don't really get into bidding wars. We don't try to snake each other on stuff. Yeah. Like we almost try to work together as a team.
Yeah.
Like I've heard of other areas where snaky stuff happens. Like, someone will put a board up for sale, and then, other people will tell the seller it's worth more money and try to swoop in and grab it. So, amongst areas where I've been looking for boards, all of us collectors, we all kind of know each other, and we don't do any of that. We kind of work together as a team, and now a lot of us, we know what each other needs. So like Lewin was on here, the Danny Kim board, that was his ultimate holy grail board. And I saw a beautiful Danny Kim board for sale in Hawaii. It was amazing. It had Astor deck on it, just mint condition. So instead
Wow.
of grabbing it for myself, I'm like, hey Louie, this person's selling this board. This is what you want. PayPal me the money right now. I'll get it for you. We'll get Danny to sign it. It's yours. So we all kind of work together as a team.
Yeah. What board are you on the lookout for? What can we look for you?
I guess the Bob Ford's Extreme Fun would be one of them.
Okay.
That's just one that I haven't found yet. I got to ride one in the 90s. It had a lot of advanced features on it. That like his had the channel rails, a lot of grooves. It was pretty cool. One of my buddies had one, so that's kind of high up on the list. Besides that, I've almost literally found everything that I wanted to recollect.
Yeah.
I'm always looking for like better versions of maybe boards I have. Like if I have a board and I can find a version with less rocker or better condition, then cool, I grab it and then sell the other one. I try not to have duplicates. Like if I have two of a board, then the second copy will become instant trade bait for somebody to trade for something else. I had some boards that let's see. I had some boards where maybe the seller might have brought it to Luen Nguyen, who kept in Orange County, and then my friend Aaron Batula picked it up and brought it up to my buddy Jared's house in San Jose and left it for me. And then when I came to San Jose, I grabbed it and brought it to my parents' house. So I guess there's been some like that. We call it the meal service, the meal train. Could sometimes get a little complicated with the moving parts.
Of course.
But it's all part of the fun. Everyone kind of has fun doing it.
It's amazing.
I don't mind. Yeah, I pick up boards for people. I've mealed them for people. I'd be in California on a road trip and meal boards across the state for other people too. So it's all kind of fun.
At
least you get to kind of handle the board in the meantime and check it out and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, he's saying,
so I guess
to you, how many hands a single board has passed through before reaching you from seller to you?
Well, let's see. So if a seller had a board, gave it to Luen gave it to Aaron Batula, Aaron brought it to my buddy Jared. So maybe 5 sets of hands before it got to me.
Asking, okay.
If that's what you're asking, Glenn?
Yeah. Mule train.
Mule train, yeah. The mule train. Okay, cool. Actually, I had some come recently from Australia too that went through the mule train.
Oh,
Jeremy Harris, super cool Australian bodyboard came out in February. I got boards that I traded for another board in Australia. So it was shipped from Jeremy to, let's say, D5 bodyboard shop, and then Jeremy picked it up from D5 and then brought it out here. So yeah, I've had some pretty complex mule trains going.
Yeah. And Michael says, and you get to meet a lot of new bodyboarders when you mule boards too. That's pretty cool.
That is true. Yeah.
Michael, all kinds of new stuff here tonight, Jordan. Stuff that I didn't know about that you guys are doing. So it's very cool. I just know that for me, wanting to talk to you was because of our BIMWeb TV history and our BIA history, and then now you're so fascinating. I know a lot of people will be fascinated with it. And like I said, we usually go up to an hour. I always go over an hour, but we're there now. So if you have any last closing comments, I'd love to hear them. Anything you want to share with anybody?
No, just stoked to be able to share everything with you guys here. Vintage bodyboards. It was a cool time where, the boards weren't made in one centralized factory in some parts of the world. Like they were just made everywhere, and all the companies were just trying to figure out what works best. So, we always wacky designs, wacky templates, crazy materials, vinyl decks, all these different features that everyone was independently trying to push and, figure out what would win out and become kind of like the standardized bodyboard that everybody rides.
Yeah.
Eventually it kind of consolidated to, a couple of companies, Custom X, Mike Stewart, the MS Turbo boards, the BZs, but before that, just all these kind of crazy different board designs. It's kind of neat to be able to find them, recollect them, and just kind of show everybody now what it used to be like back then.
Yeah.
So it's been kind of a fun times, and it was really cool too to see the VBC spring up, maybe 2016ish, I think 2017. When I joined, there was like maybe 800 people involved. It was kind of small. Now there's 20,000 of us. It's allowed a lot of us to reconnect with old friends. It's let us, it's let us connect with new friends, like super cool bodyboarders from all over the world that we would have been friends with back in the 90s, except the internet didn't exist. So, we didn't know about them. So it's been really neat, to just kind of see everybody just kind of, gather in one place and just, talk with a bunch of froth and stoke about it. It's cool to see people get more back into bodyboarding that were out of it. It's cool to see them pass it on to their kids.
See everything. And I thank you so much. And maybe we can do it again as you get more boards. We'll come back for part 2. So thank you once again, Jordan, for joining me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And so I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, if you want to go through and look at some of them again, they'll be up on all the pages. They'll be archived and pattyserrano.com and everything bodyboard.com. And I really, really want to thank Jordan for taking the time to show us all this stuff. For me, it was amazing. Like I said, like somebody said, it makes you kind of walk back through history to see some of them. And thank you again, Jordan. And we'll see all of you and talk to you on our next episode.